Hi, everybody, John Cena here, and welcome to Semi-Final 1 of FunkQuest Season 2. So it gets exciting now because one of these ladies is going to go through to the final where they might get a chance of being crowned by you as the Grand Champion Funkster for Season 2. So without further ado, I want you, Alyson, to tell me who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
My name is Alyson Lex. I am from Baltimore, Maryland. I am a crazy cat lady and a high conversion sales copywriter.
Excellent. And Kimya, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
I'm Kimya Nuru. I am 365 Diversity LLC. I live in Baltimore, Maryland now.
Ooh.
And I do trainings, workshops, and assessments for schools, businesses, and organizations to address inclusion and equity beyond those annoying anti-racism trainings that they keep doing without any results.
Excellent. Right. So if this is your first time listening to the show, just a quick reminder of the rules. Each Funkster has 1 minute. They pick an icon from the delectable delights of what's showing on my screen. They pick an icon, they get a question which may or usually may not be related to that icon. They get a minute, they've got to give us a funky answer, and at the end you can decide who wins, and in this case goes through to the final. So, and it's no advantage whether you go first or second, so I'm going to ask Alyson to go first simply because you are first on my little screen thing. So you got some pizza, some gold bullions, a cityscape, or a kind of retro photocopier thing.
Well, in honor of being from the same city, let's go with the cityscape.
How do you remember things?
I love mnemonic devices.
Oh, what are they?
So, the one that I remember I learned in 6th grade oceanography class, which is King Philip came over for greasy spaghetti, and it's the 7 stages of scientific classification. I cannot forget it. But I do it in my daily life too. Like I drive down the street and there's Route 7 and Route 40, and I could never remember which one came first on this one road.
Yeah.
Well, 7 comes before 40.
Yeah.
And then I could never remember which was Philadelphia Road and which was Pulaski Highway. Well, Philadelphia is alphabetically before Pulaski. So I try to make those little connections in my head that just stick with me. And because of that, I'm able to remember things. If I can't do that, I have to write it down.
Kimya, pizza, gold bars, or this photocopier thing?
Pizza.
Pizza, good choice. Oh, this is your question, isn't it? How many questions do you ask? Lots, right?
Well, first of all, look at the puppy. Okay. So how many questions?
Never mind that. Look at the dog. Yeah.
Look at the beautiful puppy.
Yeah.
So how many questions do I ask? So when I'm really interested in a topic, I listen, but I also write down questions. So probably a minimum of 3 questions. I tell people if I don't ask you questions, that means that you're not saying anything that I consider worth learning and anything that I consider profound. A lot of times people confuse when they're in a room full of quiet people that means they're saying something profound and people are really listening. And I'm like, no, they're probably thinking about what they're having for dinner. They're playing on the smartphone. It's only when people are actually asking questions that means that they're thinking, they're reflecting, and they think that you're important enough to give them feedback. So I try to ask at least 3 questions, unless I'm the only person asking, then I try to shut up.
That's very funky because you think, well, I must be blinding people by science because they're not asking any questions. Well, actually, no, they just don't understand. They don't want to show they don't understand. Yeah. Question 2, and you to go first. You got this fruit thing. You got a snooker table. You got a peace and happiness, and you got some fireworks. Which achievement are you most proud of?
So there's so many parts to this. So I will just say my achievement is speaking out when I'm the only person speaking out. And I'm thinking about this in terms of when I've been on board of directors and other groups that claimed that they reached communities and I know they didn't, and everyone else is quiet. I spoke out. Yes, people were pissed off, but I feel like if I hadn't said anything, then that's the problem. So I would say that's an achievement I'm proud of in terms of the work that I do. In terms of personal life, just staying close with my family and friends even during COVID. I'm proud of that because I don't work 24 hours a day.
It's a good answer about the speaking out thing, because you just assume, well, then they all know what I'm talking about. Well, like I said previously, they don't. And you can't assume that people know what you're talking about because they just... Yeah.
Which is not the same thing as the asking questions part, because sometimes we're not asking a question. We already know, so we're just telling people.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah. Question 2, Alyson. You got some fruit, a snooker table, or some fireworks?
I'm going to go with the fireworks.
Which is your favorite chair?
So we have a recliner in my living room that I bought for my husband for our 6th wedding anniversary. And I very quickly stole it and took it over. And now it's my chair.
Yeah.
And it has now gotten to the point where it's not really in great shape anymore. Like, it doesn't recline right. And we're looking for a new one, which will be my favorite chair. But this is my favorite office chair because it's ergonomic. It's got the cushion for the bum. It's, but I have to WD-40 it because it's creaky and I'm on podcast interviews and you can hear when I'm moving around. Those are my 2 favorite. I think
that it's a good point actually about in this last 6 months we've all had to think about how we look on screen.
Yeah.
And even stupid stuff like chairs and backgrounds and all that kind of stuff. We've got to think about all that. Yeah, we should do that. Question 3, and I believe it's probably Alyson to go first.
Mm-hmm.
You got some tents, a thermometer, some football players as you call it, and some kind of like digger.
So I am going to go with the construction machine.
What would you do on your last night on Earth?
It's funny. I think that question actually is like just my last night or just the general last night. Change my answer there.
I don't know.
Right? So if it was my last night, I would probably spend it writing letters to my family, mainly my son, to open at certain milestones of his life that would encourage him or give him hope or just remind him that I love him, all of those things. I'm going to get all choked up on this, but I would make sure that the people I love know how much I love them. I think that's a really big regret for a lot of people is they don't have those loving last conversations.
That's a good answer. And so what he's going to get, he's going to get a stack of letters like open on your 18th birthday, open on your wedding day, open on your New Year's Eve or whatever. Is that what you mean? Good answer.
Well, right now, I actually, when he was born, I set up an email address for him because I wanted him to get the email, his name. And
good.
I send him emails now. Nice. Every once in a while when I think of it or when I have something funny to share or poignant or I just want to remind him, I send him emails. He's 4. He doesn't have access to his account. But when he does, he'll have this whole cache of messages from his mom.
Nice.
That he can go through. And I send some medical information, like, pictures of charts or whatever that I want to make sure he has because my medical information is Lord knows where. So it's, I try to set him up that way just so he knows how much I think he's the best thing in the world. But if it was my last night on Earth, I would set him up to continue to do that.
Fantastic. Should also say that it is head Funksters' discretion if we allow extra time for somebody to answer.
Yeah, I apologize. I know I was out of...
Well, no, in the interest of fairness, Kimya's going to get some extra time in the next 1 or 2.
He's got lots of
questions.
You're absolutely fine.
3.
Yeah. I'm going to choose...
What habit do you have now that you wish you started much earlier?
The wonderful habit that I have now is telling people to go away and leave me alone. I'm so serious. I want people to have this habit, and especially when we're talking about females, girls, women, and particularly Black and brown females, girls, and women. We do a lot of free labor. People, they just want to talk to us a lot. Even with my business, places will contact me and they want a free consultation. But they will put it under the guise of just a conversation. We just want to meet you.
I'll just
and white people get paid thousands of dollars for like a 30-minute conversation. But they want to oftentimes they'll just send me like an email and they want to have a go back and forth. So I just tell people, I'm just really a habit of telling people to go away. You can find professional ways to say it. And sometimes people are so adamant that you have to just say, go away. And that's fine too.
That's good. Like it. No. The world's most effective word. Good answer. Right, question. Are we on question 4? Yes. Kimya, to go first. You've got a jellyfish, some stamps, a xylophone, and a skydiver.
I'll do the skydiver.
Oh, when did you last have a fight?
Oh, fight. Okay, so my last fight was probably 20 years ago. I always tell people I'm a Leo. I'm a fighter. So yeah. So my last fight was, I don't know, I'm just very protective, and I also challenge that notion that we have to be silent warriors. I don't believe that everything deserves a silent fight. I think some people need their butt whooped, and this includes people who don't know how to fight. Like I tell people, if you don't know how to fight, yeah, you can depart the scene, or you can still stay and say, look, I'm not a fighter. However, I want you to leave me alone. And I think that's a very important thing to address when we're talking about our rights. What does it mean to always have to walk away? Like, when do you just say, look, I've walked away enough. When are y'all going to leave me alone? There you go.
Very good. Good answer. We didn't find out about your fight, though, so we'd have to have a separate show to find out what the circumstances of that were. All right. Alyson, question 4. So, Alyson, you got to pick the stamps, the xylophone.
I'm going to go with the stamps.
When was the last time you took a taxi?
I was in San Diego in 2019 in February. I know this because I traveled by myself. And so if I'm traveling by myself, I take a taxi. Yeah. If I'm traveling with a group, I'll take an Uber or a Lyft or another ride share. But the way I feel is taxi drivers have licensing requirements, and so there's more likelihood of a background check than with a rideshare app. Yeah. And so it's just a matter of traveling alone as a woman and safety.
What were you doing in San Diego?
So I go to conferences and events, to network with other marketing business owners, and this was for an event that I've gone to every year for the past 4 or 5 years now.
Taxi drivers good in San Diego? Do they talk much, or do they just keep themselves to themselves?
Same with ride shares. You get some real chatty ones, and you get some not ones. I can typically roll with the flow, but sometimes, especially if I'm leaving the event, I'm out of charm.
Yeah, excellent. Right, question 5 are we on now? Yes. Question 5, Alyson, to go first.
The kitten, because I'm a crazy cat lady.
Kitten, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yes, yeah.
That's how it is.
Who would be the narrator of your life? Alyson Lex, the movie.
Yeah, I gotta go with Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
I knew you were gonna say that.
His voice is amazing. Who else are you gonna pick? He's just got the best voice. But no, seriously, I think if we're looking at like my real life, if it was a movie, it would be Morgan Freeman. But my real life, I think the narrator is just kind of a mix of my own inner voice, the voices of people who have impacted me either positively or negatively as I'm going throughout my day, and how, I might hear my mom say like, Alyson, you really shouldn't do that. Or, and my own inner voice can either be really awesome or not so awesome. We're working on that. Or my husband's voice maybe reminding me that I'm great and he builds me up so much. So I really think if throughout my actual real life, it's the people that have impacted me.
Question 5, Kimya.
I will do the water space.
The coastal sea. How decisive or indecisive are you?
I am very decisive, which gets on a lot of people's nerves because they want me as a Black woman to just go whichever the way the wind goes. But I'm very decisive. I know what I want. I know what I don't want. It doesn't mean I won't change my mind, but I don't believe in going into every situation with, well, whatever you say is the way it goes. I think that we have to know our deal breakers, and we have to be adamant about our deal breakers. It doesn't mean we won't learn something new, but I just don't believe in going in pretending we're blank slates. That's what a lot of adults do. And that's how you waste time on trainings and workshops, because people come in saying, I'm just here to learn from everyone, knowing good and damn well that they've already made up their mind and they're just there. And after you waste your time teaching them all this stuff, they're going to go back to doing what they were doing before because nobody's stopping them. So I appreciate people who are honest that they've made up their mind. And I try to be honest as well. And it does vary by topic too.
It's decisive. A lot of people don't know. They're indecisive because they don't know. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they like. They don't know what they stand for. They don't know what they want to do. And so they just kind of get blown about on the wind.
And part of that socialization, because most people don't know their own personality. They know what their parents and grandparents told them. They know what they learned at school. They know what they learned at work. And part of the work that I do is I tell people, who are you? And a lot of people are mad. They're like, who am I? What you mean? I said, exactly. The fact that you don't know what that means says a lot. Yeah, all you know is what your parents told you, what this political party says, all that nonsense. But when it comes to you chilling in your own space, you're confused because you don't know what are you supposed to be thinking about.
Good answer. Right, anyway, that's the end of the show. So one of these ladies is going to go through to the final. Which one, who is it? I don't know, because they're both very funky. However, you have to leave a comment below. If you're on, whoever you're listening to this, just stop waving your arms about a minute because I can't concentrate. Right? You've got to go to funkythinkers.com, leave a comment on the blog post, and you can't leave it on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else where you might be listening to this, or Spreaker or anywhere of these other things. It's got to be on funkythinkers.com, and you've got to say who you vote for, Alyson or Kimya. Right? Simple as that. That's all there is to it. And also, this is kind of harder than it looks. And if you think, well, I could do better than that, first of all, probably you can't, but if you think you can, then feel free to apply at funkythinkers.com/FunkQuest, because we are recruiting for season 3 and onwards. And remember, it's harder than it looks. So with that said, Alyson, tell us how we can contact you and find out more.
You can find me at my home on the web at AlysonLex.com. That's ALYSONLEX.com. Excellent.
And Kimya, how can we find out more about you and contact you?
Yes, so that's 365diversity.com. That's 365diversity.com. You can also reach me at Kimya, Kimya, at 365diversity.com. And remember, if you're contacting me, do not say, I just want to pick your brain. My brain is awesome, but I get paid for my brain. So
thank you so much for listening, Alyson. Kimya, thank you so much for being on. And we'll see one of you in the grand final. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much for making it to the end of this episode. Did you know that you can play FunkQuest yourself? We call it FQY. You can get going now with a 10% discount coupon that's displayed above my shoulder. Thanks so much and take care.